you have been traveling through the wilderness towards your destination. You do know that the destination is a fortress. It is not a town. You would not be welcome there, so remaining undetected is important. So you haven't followed any roads. You've been using the two scouts to maneuver through the wilderness. And for the first couple of days, the terrain, while difficult, was very pretty and very green, and there was flowers and lots of animals. But slowly, the terrain has started to change. The trees have started to get a bit more twisted. Their bark has become darker. The leaves have become more brown rather than green. And the animal life has become a little less pronounced. After the fourth day, which you knew is bringing you close to where you want to be, you have started to see a lot more webs as well as quite a few spiders. And the spiders are ranging in multiple sizes from very small up to tarantula size. And they are unusual as in some of the large spiders are sitting in the middle of a web, whereas many of the large ones, that is not their normal behavior. They do not look like Shadowland creatures themselves, but both of the scouts are aware that this is an unusual number and an unusual variety and unusual sizes. And at the end of the last day, as the sun is starting to sink, a floating shadow of a individual catches your eye, and turning around, you see about 100 feet away a individual is caught in a very large web about 15 feet off the ground between two trees.
Are they moving?
They are not. They are in a cross-like shape, arms out to the side, legs together. Head is back stuck in the web.
I do not know how that is possible, but we should cut them down. Yes?
It is not a single web like you normally, sort of see a spider do. It's like multiple webs that have all been formed.
Daisuke pulls a mayor up to a stop, and Rin looks around disapprovingly. What kind of creature could have created a web that could hold up a human?
The spiders in this area are unusual. However, they should not be able to do that, I don't think. I do not know if they are alive, but we should check.
You think it is safe to do so?
I don't know.
And Daisuke peers through squinted eyes. Doesn't appear that they're moving. Well, that could be that they might be exhausted
And Chiaki
or
is sort of
simply passed
scanning
out.
around to see if there's anything that looks like it would present an immediate threat to.
The change in landscape and local wildlife, and
I must confess, I am not familiar with this landscape either. I do not see anything that presents an immediate threat, so.
and Daisuke turns to Amaya and says, "Stay." And the horse sort of like it nods.
As
Yep.
she had no intention of going anywhere near it.
Yep. And Daisuke turns to Chiaki. Yes, it is a little bizarre. I mean, when you come to the crablands, you don't see crabs everywhere.
All right. Chiaki's going to draw her katana and attempt to start cutting away at the webbing.
And Daisuke will draw his bow and knock an arrow.
And when you get close, and close enough to cut the webbing, you can see that it looks like a peasant who is in a brown tunic. And he looks very drained.
And he looks very dead.
Oh, yes. His
Oh.
eyes are like sunken. There does not appear to be much fluid, you think, left in his body.
She will still cut him down if possible to get a better look.
It's not easy to do, but with some work, eventually he falls onto the ground. There are about maybe 3,000 spiders, because
Right.
it's like little ones. It's a great big web. They're all have been taking over like a part of it. They don't seem to have been responsible for his demise, but they've been on the web.
I do not think even this many spiders could have killed a human. But he appears to have been drained of blood, or I do not know.
And Daisuke takes a step back.
This is very unusual.
Perhaps something larger that we have not seen. Or done by humans. Put up here as a mere dissuasion to other local peasants against perhaps thievery or...
The only humans that I have ever seen drain blood in this manner would be Maho, and that would be bad.
And his jaw cracks open, like his mouth. You hear the crack as the bones are moving, and a set of large legs starts to make its way out of him. And it's slightly larger than your average tarantula, and it moves over his face.
The fact that there are so many spiders here and an unusual variety of sizes, it is very strange. This place does not seem natural, but I do not know that it seems unnatural either. Perhaps we had better continue on. I suppose there is nothing we can do for him.
Yes, and perhaps we should stay more alert. Just to be on the safe side.
Very well. And Chiaki will make sure to pay extra close attention to the surrounding area in case of any huge spiders or anything else. Guess we will continue onwards.
So you arrive on the western side of the valley, and across on the eastern, you can see a fortress. It has a stone wall surrounding it, and the fortress itself is currently small. but the size of the grounds have enough room for it to be expanded into a medium-sized one. And by the unusual amount of deliveries that you can see that are in the courtyard, it appears that that is the idea. This is not a house. This is not a home. This is a castle, but a castle built entirely around the idea of war.
So, how exactly are we going to. Well,
So currently there is only one compound within the stoned wall, which is the map. So it's starting to get dark, but it's not dark. But it's definitely, the sun is starting to sink over the valley's western side. So it's behind you, the sun. From the distance, which is about 1.5 kilometers, you can see that there's a couple of patrols. They are not patrolling aggressively, as in, like, it doesn't look like they expect any sort of imminent attack, but they're also not completely unprepared either. So the patrols are not the best that they could be. There is watchtowers, and you see movement every now and again, but if they've been at it for a while, they are probably not completely observant. It's very hard to stay 100% readiness after 5 hours of just watching the forest.
yeah, very exciting.
It takes about 15 minutes for the external patrol, of which you assume there might be 2 of them, roughly equidistant, to do a circle. So wherever you go, providing they've just passed, you have about 15 minutes. From similar sizes, you think it could hold up to 50 servants and samurai. But there's no telling to know exactly how many, because they're not all visible.
We will have to leave Maya here.
And Daisuke thinks a little bit. Of course we'd have to leave Amaya here. I'm just wondering if it would be best for us to go on foot, as peasants, in case we get caught, or if we can get within the compounds themselves.
I do not think peasants would be able to simply walk in either.
No, we would have to sneak in. Once in, we could disguise ourselves as peasants.
How?
Well, we just walked past a dead body with a peasant clothes. Or was he wearing clothes?
He was wearing clothes.
Oh, he
However,
was.
he didn't have enough clothes for 3 people. And
you don't know if he was murdered and thrown out here because he did get captured.
yeah.
So, I know both yourself and Rin agreed to have done this, but how do you exactly propose, A, to investigate this matter, and B, find out if your suspicions are true?
They are not our suspicions, so to say. They are the suspicions of the Lion Clan, or I suppose specifically of Hodan Matsu. As for how, I suppose we simply try not to be discovered.
So, we've been sent.
Not exactly. they could not investigate themselves.
So sending someone who's not tied to the Lion Clan would make sense for them, and if anything ever happened to us... I would say that they would... it would not point back to them.
I
Again,
suppose.
why did you both agree to this?
Because it is important to know who is responsible for the deaths.
And Daisuke thinks, and he picks a stick up off the road and throws it at a nearby web. And it catches in the web.
You could perhaps have provided input on the matter had you not chosen to stay in a separate area.
Well, in my defense, one does not care much for the formalities of court. That's more for the pompous and...
Well, if you choose not to participate in such matters, then you cannot later complain that you had no input in our next mission.
I'm not complaining that I've got no input into this affair. I'm just a little bit confused as to why we're pursuing this matter, as to how this would improve our chances of getting to our end destination.
If you wish to think of it in terms of how it benefits us, then I suppose you could say you have earned the favor of the Lion Clan.
Fair enough. I can see some practicalities in that. As long as we don't get caught.
Well, then we should try not to. If you have any practical suggestions.
You notice Rin's looking around Amaya. She's like looking for something.
Chiaki's looking to see if anything has fallen, then, if she looks like she's looking on the ground.
Yeah. She's like staring intently at this rock that's on the ground. Given the chances of all success and the few number of us that are within the walls of the fortress, I think they're better. Those that are, and no offense, Miss Saito-san, the ones that can speak.
I would think that speaking would mean being more likely to be found out, if anything. I believe our only real approach would be to attempt to remain quiet and not be detected.
As you wish, Miss Byakuya-san.
I do not know if it is what I wish, however, it is the only thing that I can think of. If you do have a better suggestion, then... But as it is, it has grown darker, so...
We shall wait for nightfall. But I think Miss Saito-san would be better to stay with Amaya. Mere for the fact that if she is spotted, an eye patch stands out quite distinctively.
Very well.
So the map is the interior compound. There is the stone wall that goes around it. So it's about, if the map was sort of yay big in size, about that much of it's the compound. The rest of it is open because it's clear they want to expand that compound into something much bigger. And most of the front of the area, which is open within the stone wall, has wood and crates and stone, which has obviously been brought in for the construction purposes.
And we shall wait for nightfall. Are there lots of spiders around here?
A few. Like, more than you'd expect, but I mean, they're not attacking you or anything.
Do a bit of a recon along the forest line, perhaps, picking a suitable part in the wall that we could climb up, possibly.
So we'll wait for them to just get out of sight coming around and... Okay, so we can see their torches coming around.
You can see the light
once-
approach, you can see them. There is 3 on each wall towers, but there is a light within it, a small light within it, but there is none on the outside.
Okay.
So you have reasonable cover after about 25 feet after they move on. You can pretty much outside of their light.
Yep, Chiaki at least is definitely going to wait for them to go past and then quietly make her way over to the wall. Chiaki wants to try to quietly climb the wall, and I'm looking to see what kind of a roll that would be. I guess that would be fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Chiaki, once she reaches the wall, will start to climb, and she seems pretty confident in climbing. She is quite sure in where she's putting her feet and finding more outcroppings of stone to grab onto to pull herself up. And it doesn't take her too long to reach the top of the wall and attempt to very quietly drop down to the other side.
Daisuke follows. The 2 guards sort of stop. And one of them looks back, and Daisuke notices, and he pulls himself close to the wall and sort of slowly changes his arm up into a sort of a jagger to match the pattern of the wall. The guards look back, and they mutter something to each other and turn. Daisuke climbs up over the wall and jumps down next to Chiaki.
And we have made it to the other side of the wall.
You are in the large open courtyard, which is going to be, at some point, the plan appears to be to build more of the fortress.
Mm-hmm.
There are several, by quite a few, crates, which look like they hold nails and other elements that are required for the building. You can see the main entrance to the compound with 2 guards standing by the gate.
Well, at least while deciding what to do, Chiaki's going to sort of crouch behind one of the crates to avoid being seen by the guards before deciding what to do.
And there is 1 torch which is hooked up on the wall, providing some light at the gate, but not tons of light.
Okay. And they're just standing facing forward, or are they turning?
Yeah, they're basically looking forward. They might be talking every now and again, mentioning something to each other, but they're not talking a lot. They've got the Yaris. One's sort of holding his, the other has it leaning against him.
Chiaki wants to, and I want to make the case for it being survival again. Basically, just sneak along the wall, and if they're facing forwards, just kind of get in behind them without being seen and without having to interact with them at all. And my case for it being survival is that she's very good at hunting and sneaking up on things quietly and not being seen so that she can catch them and eat them. I mean, I got 3 successes. So, considering there are lots of crates of supplies in the open space before getting to the actual sort of fortress, she is using them as cover to get closer and closer to the wall. And once she's able to reach the wall out of sight of the guards, she is just going to flatten herself against it and slowly and quietly make her way along it, keeping to the shadows since it's night. She pauses a moment upon seeing the wooden gate and really hopes that it is not creaky, and is very happy that she is able to quietly lift the latch and swing the gate open. It seems they maintain this gate very well oiled hinges. It silently swings open, and she will slip inside.
Daisuke follows the same path, finds the gate unlatched, which he breathes a sigh of relief because the two guards turn and start to walk back towards the gate as he just slips through in time and slides the gate, closes it, and latches it quietly.
So you are in the main courtyard.
Yes, we are.
There is a watchtower to your right with a guard that's in it who's just sort of watching out
With
into
the,
the
like,
courtyard.
diagonal sort of...
Yeah, the one
Okay.
the one on the bottom right.
Cool.
He's looking out, not in.
Okay.
There is a building directly across from you. There is a building to the bottom left. There is a building straight across. There is a building straight to the north, or like in the middle of the courtyard on the opposite side of the wall, and another guard tower which is connected. So basically all those square ones,
Yeah,
of
guard
which there's
towers.
4, are guard towers. And they're all looking out. That when you can see a guard, they're not really looking in. There's not sounds that's quite catching their attention. So there's 4 of those all up. 3 down at your side, and there's 1 further up. So you can hear voices from the southwest room.
Okay, can we hear what they were saying?
They're just grumbling about the length of the watch, that things are quiet.
Okay. Not
It sounds like general guard sort of chatter.
Okay.
You can smell dew
Okay.
coming from the west, so the building directly across might be a kitchen, possibly for the troops rather than for any visiting people of rank.
Okay.
And the building directly across from you also has some chatter that sounds like general guard chatter.
Okay.
So the one straight across from where you are, which looks a little bit similar to the one in the bottom left, they both might be barracks.
Okay.
There is a door that leads
Those two.
into the barrack area and a door that looks like it leads into that building, because it also looks like there's not lots of ways to move further in. You're not sure what the building is in the courtyard behind the wall. You saw it from the outside. You can't see it on the inside because there's a wall there.
Yes, there is. Chiaki is trying to decide which building is best to investigate first, and thinking probably not one of the ones with people in it. Or at least talking
Daisuke's
people.
thinking the one with the food might be of interest.
Is he sneaking towards the building that smells like stew?
Yep. Yep, he stops and thinks about it and looks over at the other double doors at the barracks, and while crouched,
There's a double set of doors on the left, which you can hear the voices behind, and double set of doors about 10 feet on the same building to the right.
The ones on the right that don't have people behind them?
slide it open ever so quietly, just a little way, just enough to peer inside.
It is a passage.
Chiaki will be following him, since he's not going to the door with people.
Daisuke will slide open the door and step in and allow Chiaki to follow.
Yep, she will step through as well.
And it goes along and has a door further down that is to the east.
Alright, and upon reaching the other door, Chiaki will do the same, as in slightly open it to try and see if there's anyone we can see through it.
You don't see anyone. It is in the open courtyard, which is the vertical one towards the top.
Okay, if she doesn't see anyone, she will open the door farther and step through.
Well, Daisuke will head over to the wall that connects with the guard tower. That's the wall that he'll be going up against.
Chiaki will follow along.
You get to the entranceway. There is an open passage that leads into a square courtyard, and a door that leads into the building that is directly across from the stairs on the map.
Daisuke will look at Chiaki,
So we'll look back.
points to the courtyard,
Hmm?
and points to the door that goes towards the other building.
She's gonna stop and listen to see if she can hear anything from the building. If she doesn't hear anything, she'll go sort of do the same thing with the door, as in open slightly, look in, see if there's anyone there going, what are you doing here? But
You can see there are several crates that say roof tiles on the side.
and she doesn't see anyone, but just roof tile crates.
Well, you've only opened it a little bit, right?
True, but she just sees roof tile crates. She will look back to Daisuke and sort of be unsure if she should go into the actual building. Roof tiles don't seem that important, but there could be something else in there. Who knows?
And he signs, well,
So she will look at him and sign, I don't know. And then she looks like she's trying to think of something. And then she kind of does a gesture over her head that you think might be supposed to be a roof. And looks back like,
and Daisuke looks up at the roof.
and
The
she's
building?
like, oh, no. I can't do this. Okay. Since considering the roof tiles, she thinks it's sort of odd that they would have boxes of roof tiles inside a building when the rest of the building supplies are out in crates just in the open courtyard. She does want to take a closer look at those, so she will open the door wider and attempt to enter and hope that there's no one hiding in the corner.
There is a samurai. He has his back
Course
to you.
there is.
He is holding a sheet. He is going over some stuff. He hears the door. He turns and is surprised to see you.
Great. At least he's surprised.
Yes, he's more surprised than you are. So you have an action.
Okay, and from Daisuke's point of view, I guess, she opened the door slightly more and then sort of jumped slightly because she wasn't expecting a samurai to be there. And she does not feel like she should just kill him because that's, I don't know. Is he evil? I don't know. She does want to try and knock him out, though, so I guess she's going to try and hit him. So that'll be melee of some description, which she just wants to hit him. She doesn't want to stab him. So, but she will use katana. And another one. For success. Chiaki was not as startled as the samurai, who did not at all expect to turn around and see a confused-looking intruder. However, she still is slightly shocked and is acting more on impulse when she will instinctively reach for her katana, realize that she doesn't want to stab him because she doesn't know anything about him, or even if the samurai here is responsible for what happened. So she will instead sort of swing it wildly at his head, and it connects with a fairly solid crack, which luckily there is no one else in the building to hear, as he crumples to the ground. And once he does, she's going to stand there and look panicked, and then consider trying to drag him somewhere out of sight, and then realize that she probably can't, and then look at whatever paper he was holding.
And the paper is a long list of supplies with deliveries. The crates do not look completely difficult to open. They just look like they've been...
Yeah, she's gonna open one, considering she's still kind of like, why would you store roof tiles in here?
And they are roof tiles. However, when she picks one up to feel it, they are red. But she almost drops it initially because it's incredibly heavy. And scratching it, Chiaki can see that the roof tile is made of lead.
Okay, and she will just quickly look in the other boxes to see if they're also full of lead tiles. Okay. And there's nothing else.
Maybe about, if they're all like that, maybe about 2,000 of them.
And she doesn't see anything else of great interest in this room.
No.
Then
There is a
she's
door
going
on the far side that leads into the main complex.
Okay.
Daisuke will, while crouched, run as fast as he can towards the open door of the small building with his bow drawn.
And when he enters, he will see an unconscious samurai on the ground and Chiaki inspecting roof tiles.
Huh. Daisuke looks confused. He lowers the bow and he still holds it in one hand.
I was not expecting there to be someone here. These are strange. They are roof tiles. They are made of lead?
Lead roof tiles?
Yes, but they are painted red so that they appeared normal? I do not know. And Chiaki will put down the roof tile she was holding and gesture to the door. There is also a door that appears to lead farther in. I have not opened it. The last door I opened had someone on the other side.
He looks over to the guard, or to the samurai who's laying on the floor. He walks over to the samurai and examines him. Nice whack to the head, and there's so many crates of tiles. And taps one of the tiles inside and realizes it's lead. The only reason why one would hide such things is maybe for preparation for war, so no one finds out.
This whole fortress, they seem to be preparing for something like that.
Perhaps some movement within the upper houses, maybe a coup perhaps, is looming on the horizon.
I could not say.
Could this have any relevance to the businessman's wife and son that were murdered?
Oda and Matsu believed that that could have been over a trade deal, which he would not have allowed since it did not serve the Lion clan well. When we were asked to look into this, we were also told that the samurai they think could be behind it is said to have ties to Hikibi.
The Hikibi?
Yes.
Keep the manifest in a tile. They probably would not miss one tile.
I suppose we can bring one. She'll take the paper and...
Is this enough evidence? Or do we need to investigate further?
This is not evidence at all of what we were sent to look into.
Well, Daisuke will walk up to the door and put his ear against the door and listen. He'll slide the door slightly open.
The bottom area looks like a larger storeroom. And there are 2 guards you can hear now that the door is open talking that you think is outside. And there are stairs leading up to your right. There are several long crates in the storeroom area, the open area.
Yep. Daisuke will slip into the next part of the building.
Okay. If he's
And
going
there's
through.
about 50 of these long crates in this room, and the main doors are open, and there's 2 guards outside that are facing away.
Hiding behind one of the crates. I guess Daisuke is going to peer into one. Do I need to roll?
Sure, give me a roll. I mean, they're matchlock, that he might have seen before,
Yep.
but the way it's constructed looks different to ones he may have seen.
Okay. So taking one of these.
Which is possible. It is reasonably heavy.
Oh.
These things were not light.
They don't have slings on them?
They do not have slings on them. They didn't add slings on these things for quite a while.
Yeah.
Well, this is also a matchlock, so it looks like, and it doesn't have all the stuff for it there. It's just the actual musket, but it's got where the wick would sit.
I used the other success to memorize certain features of the firearms, so
Sure.
I could. So Daisuke could potentially, sketch, like draw.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So you're trying to memorize a gun?
Yep, and you can. You got successes. You can.
Yep. And he'll quietly lower the lid.
Quietly head up the stairs, just in case. Well, we don't want to go thundering up the stairs anyway, because then someone's, hey, who's stomping around on the stairs?
And this seems to be a more residential area where the samurai in question would reside, as well as any guests or other important samurai, advisors, and the like. It does not feel like he's there at the moment by the lack of activity, but lack does not mean none. And you can hear some female voices talking that are echoing a little down the corridor, and a couple of male voices. So no one is in your immediate area, and you can tell just by the style of the doors and that which would be his quarters.
We just have to get to that door, open, and slide ourselves inside.
And hope that no one is in there, I suppose.
This is true. We're making a roll,
To quietly make it to that door?
and Daisuke will let Chiaki go first because she seems to know what she's doing, and he'll follow her lead. 2 success.
All right, so I got 3 success, you got 2. Chiaki is staying to one side of the hallway, even though there's no particular reason to do so. She just feels like she should, and is just sort of walking quietly over to the door that very clearly goes to the samurai's quarters. She will listen at the door, and on hearing nothing, she will quietly slide it open and step through.
And Daisuke is following close behind, and Chiaki steps in, and Daisuke follows and slides the door shut again.
The room itself looks quite expensive. The bed is prepared. The sword rack is empty. It seems as if they are expecting him, but not like he's already here. It's more like the room is prepared. There are, on the table, 2 letters. One is folded and made of paper, so it's folded within the way that they do it. The other one is a dark tan, and the material is very unusual.
Chiaki will unfold the paper one and read that.
The time is not right. You are forbidden from making any rash actions. Your actions to date have only complicated matters. It is signed Atsuko Date.
Atsuko Date. Okay. I mean, she's gonna fold that back up, but keep it in case it is important to show to others. Is Daisuke taking a look at the strange one, or shall she also investigate that?
Oh no, he's just sort of covering the door and looking back every now and then.
Okay, then she will also look at this strange material.
It almost looks not just tan color, but tan texture.
As in hide? Like,
Yes.
okay, she will read it.
It feels unpleasant.
Okay, she doesn't like it.
Both the touching it, but it goes deeper than that. Like, it itself doesn't feel good, but
Okay.
there's something she can't put, like, her finger on as to why she doesn't like it, but the process feels unpleasant.
Okay.
It doesn't have much. It just says, I have done what you desired. Remember our arrangement. And it's scrawled.
And is it signed, or I'm assuming
It is
no?
not signed. It is very. It's black ink, or at least you think it's ink, and it's been a very sharp. The other was definitely the brush, the standard writing brush that they. This is very, very fine, very sharp, very pointy.
And how is it just it's just a piece of skin with stuff writing on it. It's not like folded, it's not rolled up or anything, it's just there.
Yeah.
Okay. She's going to reluctantly also take that one. She does not really want to, but again, it could be evidence of something, so she will take it along. Although she'd really rather just leave it be. Okay, and Daisuke, who's back by the door, sees that Chiaki is now staring out the window and looking slightly surprised, and she will continue keeping her eyes on something for a moment or two, and then she will walk back. I have
Wait, what do you see?
There was a spider. It was bigger than any of the others we saw in the forest, and although it sounds strange, I felt as though it was watching me.
Daisuke looks a little bit perplexed and confused.
It looked at me for a moment and then backed away.
And Daisuke will walk over to the window
It's gone.
and he looks back at.
I have some messages. I think perhaps we had better leave quickly.
I think we should too.
Then let's go.
The Legend of the Five Rings role-playing game is available from Edge Studios, starring RavenInsane as Rin, Emily as Chiaki, and Ghost as the storyteller. Sounds and music were provided by Sirenscape and Nash Music Library. This has been a Critfail production. Thank you very much for listening.